How does a crazy teenage die-hard fan of the Red Sox get through this COVID disaster? Watch as this confident kid who plays the trumpet, not the sax, shows people how he makes his multi-tracks.
Hi, my name is Aiden. Today I will be going through a step-by-step tutorial on how I make my multi-track recordings using GarageBand. Okay, so now, first thing you gotta do is open up GarageBand. And if you've already opened it and played around with it before, then it should open you up a project that you've already opened in the past, which is this, the one that I was just working on. And so I'm going to teach you guys how to do it. So I'm going to have to make a new project, which you go to File, and then you hit New. And if it's your first time ever using GarageBand, this is where it should take you to start. An empty project is already selected, so you're just going to hit Choose. Once you hit Choose, it's going to ask you to pick a track type, and you're going to choose the default one, the one that's already clicked. This track type is the one that you can record or drag and drop audio files, which can come in handy at times. I won't go into detail with the other choices because we won't be needing them in this tutorial. However, if you would like to play around with those things, the description of each of those track types is pretty self-explanatory. Make sure that your input is the input that you want. If you've plugged in a microphone, make sure that that microphone is the one that is selected on the input menu. If, for some reason, you forget to check, which happens, you can always change that later, but it's always easier to just make sure that that's the one that's selected in the beginning. As you can see, my microphone is connected, and it tells me right here. To record with good quality, you will need a decent microphone, which you'll be able to play around with the input volumes later. When you finish all the steps, hit Create, and it should take you here. First things first, I'm going to show you guys the basic controls of GarageBand. Once you have these down, everything else will be a lot easier to understand and remember. The first thing, which I think is really important, is the metronome. Based on the default settings, it's already on, but to turn it on and off, you click this icon right here. Right next to that icon is the count off, which counts off one measure for you based on your selected time signature, which is default is 4/4. You can also change the count off length by going to record here at the top, and then it goes to count in, and you can choose. Here you can change the tempo or the bar beat, which is just the location of the playhead. There are 3 ways that you can do it. One of the ways is that you can scroll up and you can scroll down. One of the other ways is you can drag up and down. And the last way is you can double click and manually put it in. So if you want the tempo to be 150, then press enter and it will be 150. Next to that, you can change the key and you can change the time signature. Now, I don't really use the key that much, but the time signature might be useful to play around with if you're going to be playing in other time signatures like 3/4 or 6/8. This is the record button, which you can start by pressing R or manually clicking it. Next to that is the play button, which you can start by pressing space or by clicking it manually. This is the cycle button, which if you click it, it will play the selected measures over and over again. These are the rewind buttons, which you can skip forward or backwards by one measure at a time. This is the tuner, which you can use to make sure that you're playing in tune. It's just like a normal tuner. The drop down menu tells you other ways that you can sort the middle section, but the default is the easiest way, so beats and project. Now that you guys know the basic controls of GarageBand, I'm gonna show you what they do. So first up is the play button. When you hit the play button will play, and then you get to hear the metronome like this. Okay, and then this button will bring you back to the beginning. And so you click that and you're back at the beginning. Now this is the track, okay? The track is called Audio 1. You can double click and rename it. So let's just call it Aiden C. Record. You press record, the metronome is going to turn on, but also you're going to get a count off in the beginning, okay? The count off is going to give you 4 counts of metronome with the correct tempo, okay? And then you can get ready.
So let's just say, like, if you're playing a piece, right? And then, like, the conductor counts off. 1, 2, ready, and that's basically the function of the count off. So the count off will give you 4. And then you can start, playing. Then once you finish recording, you can either press record or you can press stop, okay? If you press record, it'll keep playing as you saw earlier right there. If you press stop, it'll just stop. I usually just press stop or I click space. You can go back to the beginning with this button. It's super useful. And then if you don't like your take, right, you can delete it by pressing delete. And then you can start, playing. Then once you finish recording, you can either press record. So I didn't like that, so I'm just going to delete it. Go back to the beginning, and also you can use the rewind buttons if you want to go in smaller ways, like if you had something at measure 3. You can also use this playhead right here, and you can drag it around, but you gotta be in the right spot or else it won't let you drag it around, right? So just keep that in your head. This is the volume slider on the track. It'll control the volume, default 0.0. This is the master volume with the volume of the whole thing. You can right click on this, I believe, and then you will get these. You can choose what sound. So I'm gonna be a firework because I'm a firework. The cycle button, if you were to play something. So I'm gonna say stuff for 2 measures, okay? And I don't want the metronome and I don't want the count off. The count off, without the count off, it'll just start from right there. So it starts. Hello everybody. My name is Aiden, and I like Hamilton. Okay, now let's just play it, just to make sure. Arts. Started by saying arts, which I don't like, and I don't want it. So I'm gonna crop that part out. And then drag it back to the beginning, and then go back. And if I want to play this over and over again, I can click this cycle button, and you can change the length of the cycle. So I want the length of the cycle to be that, and then I'm just gonna play it. Hello everybody, my name is Aiden, and I like Hamilton. Hello everybody, my name is Aiden, and I like Hamilton. So you get the idea. You can change the cycle range, and like if you wanted the cycle range to be longer, or you could change the cycle range by doing that, all that stuff, but it's not a big deal. Those are pretty much all we have on the top here. And by the way, to delete it, you can press delete again. Also, another one is you can find edit, right? If you want to go a little bit deeper into the editing, you can record yourself, pause it, and then double click on that, and then it'll take you here, okay? Here you can transpose. The transpose on GarageBand isn't perfect, so it'll sound a little bit weird still. You can change how advanced and deep, right? I usually only go up to about here, unless I'm going super deep in the editing. But you can you can crop it out, right? You can also choose from a certain range, and then it becomes a new track. And then you press to go back, Command Z, right? And the top here, you can also press record yourself. And that's also cycle. One of the things is transpose. Don't use this in your school assignments, right? You can tell when it's transposed. So if you want me to sound really high, yeah, it's a chipmunk. And then if you sound really low, and you can go in the middle as well. It's just really fun to transpose and stuff. You can also press reverse playback, which is basically it just reverses what it was. So if I play this, it says something really weird. Yeah. And that's basically what I use in the fine editing. Now that you know all the basic controls to GarageBand and how to edit, I'm going to show you guys how to make a multi-track, which basically means multiple tracks. And right now you only have 1 track. So how are you going to get 2 tracks or more than 2 tracks? If you want to duet, you can click this plus button.
for however many tracks that you want, and you can hit record using a mic or line input or drag and drop, same as last time, and then make sure the right input is selected, and you hit create, and now you have 2 tracks. For the 2 tracks, the settings are exactly the same, the controls are exactly the same. Just one thing, when you're recording, make sure you select the right track before you record. And it's okay if you forget to do that. It happens to me all the time. For example, I'm on audio 2 and I forget to switch to Aiden C, and I want to say something on Aiden C and say, "Pardon me, are you Aaron Burr, sir?" Okay? But then I actually wanted it to be on Aiden C. What you do on that time is you drag it up to the track you want it to be. So make sure that the text is yellow under where it says position. That means it's exactly where it was on the other track. So it'll sound the same, but if you want to make one track quieter than the other one, then you can also use the volume slider, and then you can rename and change the picture all right there. So this is what it'll sound like now. "Pardon me, are you Aaron Burr, sir?" That's pretty much the only difference between recording with one track and recording with more than one track. Otherwise, everything else is pretty much the same. If you know the basic controls, you can basically do everything else just fine with more than one track. Yeah, and remember to have fun. Okay guys, and the last thing in this tutorial is how are we going to share it and export it and all that, okay? So how to export this song to MP3 to make it a file that you can share with your friends and your teachers. You press export song to disk under share, and it'll let you name it and everything. You make sure MP3 is clicked, you can save it to wherever you want to, and then you can change the name, so my song. You can put any tags that you want. I just do high quality, and then you press export, but I'm not going to export this because there's nothing, but that's just how you do it. And the last thing is how are you going to save it. You can press save, or you can press save as to change the name. So you press save, and then you can it'll save as project if you don't change the name, so my song, and you can save it to where you want and add any tags, and I'm not going to save it for today, but that is pretty much how I make my multi-tracks using GarageBand. If you benefited from this tutorial, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos. Comment down below for any more feedback. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.